Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to In the Studio. It's been a while. I'm here with my co-host
Audrey
and with our guest star,
Mr. Haag.
And as we all know, Mr. Haag is retiring, and this is his last year in VidPro. So I kind of just wanted to take an episode where we can talk to Mr. Haag, have a little bit more time than like a 5-minute teacher highlight, and just really get in the know with the VidPro history. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Right.
Because I'm always asking you questions anyways. It's like, might as well just get this on tape so I don't have to like double ask.
Well, the truth is, I don't remember any of it, so I just make it up as I go.
All right. Well, then.
So this will make it history because I will have said it.
Yeah, you have the power to shape history right now. Ooh. It's like changing history books, but on tape.
Writing your own destiny.
And then ask me tomorrow, and we may change history again.
we might change the VidPro lore. Okay, so I wanted to start out with asking. So, in year one, you always tell us the story about how like Mr. Duty went up to you and asked you to teach VidPro. Like, what is like the full like context? Like, what is the full story? Like, what happened?
Well, somehow Mr. Duty and I remember this differently. So I can't tell you how Mr. Duty recalls it, but I will tell you how I recall it.
Okay.
So I was in the old high school, which is now the Maple View, right? So my room was way back in the back 40. Really, people didn't come back there unless there was a reason to come back there because it was a long walk. So one day, Mr. Duty comes back at the end of the school day. He comes back and he's in my room. And he says, hey, next year, this was going into the remodel that was just finishing up, right? So he comes into my room and it's May, like mid-May, and this is my 4th year of teaching, so I'd be starting my 5th year of teaching, and every single year I've had multiple new classes. And, for a teacher, new classes is really hard because you don't know the material, you've never taught it, you're developing everything from scratch. So my 5th year, I was teaching business and marketing. In my 5th year, this was going to be the first time that I was not going to have any brand new preps, pretty much because I had already taught them all. So he comes into my room and he goes, hey, Rick, we're going to be having this new video production course next year. We kind of built a spot for it in the new remodel. We ran it for registration, and we're going to have we're going to have class periods next year, 2 of them. He goes, would you be interested in teaching them? And for me, I'm like, no, this is going to be, I know nothing about video production. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the first year that I'm not going to have a new prep. So I'd really like to not do that. And he turns and he starts to walk out the room. And he turns and he comes back in and he says, okay, well, next year in September, you're going to teach 2 courses in video production. And you have $40,000 to spend between now and then. So, yeah. And then he walked out of my room.
It all just kind of happened.
It all just kind of happened. Now, I was pretty new. I was pretty green as a teacher. I didn't understand the whole school system. Honestly, what I think, and most students don't understand this either. Honestly, I think what happened is I was a business and marketing teacher. We had a full-time business teacher, a full-time marketing teacher. I came in to pick up the extra classes in each of those departments. Mm-hmm. Well, I think what was happening is our business and marketing numbers were reducing. So, yes, I was really good at technology, which is one of the reasons he came to me, but he also went, whoa, we don't have an accounting class for you to teach next year. What are we going to have Rick teach? So, I think that was part of it as well. There was reduced enrollment in business and marketing, and they needed a new video production teacher because it was a new program. They didn't have one. They were teaching video production to 6 students out of a closet in the library.
What was that? This is new lore.
This is new lore?
Yeah, I haven't heard this. They taught VidPro in the library?
So, well, it wasn't really called VidPro. It was for a few students who were interested, right? And our librarian at the time, her name was Laura Gillingham, she taught a couple students, I think it was 5 or 6, she taught them during different class periods. So it was kind of an independent study kind of thing. So she taught them, and we had one editing system. And back in the day, there, you didn't just edit on any old computer. That editing system, that computer system, was about a $35,000 editing system.
Oh my gosh.
And after that, as soon as I started my program, we never touched that again. That system went away. And so, so those 6 students then turned into, video production, 2 full classes, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. So how many years did it like take you to phase out of like teaching business marketing? Like how long were you teaching it up to until you switched to full-time VidPro?
Well, I taught business marketing and math just because I had enough credits at Eatonville High School when I was there, and I was there for 2 years. And then I came to Tahoma, and I taught business and marketing for 2 years at Tahoma. And then my 5th year, I had 2 video production classes. And then starting with my 6th year all the way to now, that's all I've taught was video production. So once I started the program, it was that first year was 2 classes, and then after that, I've just taught video production for my whole career after that. And then when we came to the new high school, I picked up and taught an overload. So for the last 9 years, I've taught an extra class. So I teach 7 out of 8 classes.
So, what were those like early years like in VidPro? You said that like we had like you had 2 whole class periods. Was it like just like year 1 classes and like that was it?
Well, yeah, the first year was just year 1 because I didn't have any year 2 students. Actually, the first 2 years were pretty much year 1, because early on, I pretty much had a lot of seniors because seniors really were interested and really wanted to take the course. Back then it was really new. It was really cutting edge. And so I would have very few juniors, no sophomores, basically. So yeah, it was all seniors. So I didn't really have any extra periods, all the seniors graduate, right? So there wasn't enough kids to run an advanced class. But probably year 3 is when we were able to scrounge together enough to run, I think, an advanced class. I think year 3.
Wow. What was the like equipment? Like what did the equipment look like in those early years?
Yeah, but that was like $40,000 that you got.
I had $40,000, and people are like, wow, you had $40,000. That sounds like a lot of money. Mm-hmm. When you're buying this kind of equipment, it is not. So back in the day, when we started the program, Apple just came out with the iMac. And Apple came out with the computer called the iMac DV, which was the graphite iMac, if you look it up. And it was the only one in the iMac line that you could actually hook a digital video camera to and get digital video into it. And by the way, this is what basically that iMac saved Steve Jobs' job. Actually didn't save his job, saved Apple because Steve Jobs got fired, went away, and did his own thing with, who was he? Was he DreamWorks? No, he's Pixar.
Next.
Sorry, Pixar.
And then he made the next company,
and then Apple was probably just months from going under when Steve Jobs came back to him and went, hey, I've got this idea. I think that all of these soccer moms would love to, and I say soccer moms, but basically what I mean is all of these parents who want to have video and want to have digital images of their kids would love to be able to afford a computer that would allow them to do all of that in the computer. Because prior to this, again, a digital editing machine was $35,000. They came out with the iMac Graphic and iMovie and iPhoto and iTunes, and it was $1,600. So now all of a sudden, everybody could edit video and do those things at home. That's really what saved Apple. A lot of people think the iPhone saved Apple. It was the very first iMac that had all of those digital programs on it. So anyhow, I had 8 of those machines. I bought 8. They were called Canon ZR-10s. They were little tiny consumer handheld cameras. They like fit in your palm like this, and they recorded on mini DV tape. I bought 8 of those, and I bought 8 really crappy tripods. And that was our equipment.
That was the setup.
That was it. That was the setup.
Wow.
So 8 people could edit. Whoa, what did the other 16 do? I don't know.
Just kind of dilly-dallied around.
Sat around and watched.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
So wait, so the storage room was just like just like vacant.
Well, the storage room was a control room. So there was a computer in there, or we were starting to get it set up for a computer to be able to do some, possible multicam stuff. Because even back then, you could still hook those cameras up into what was a digital mini DV switcher, and you used FireWire cables and hooked them up, and you could switch, up to 4 cameras.
Nice. So if you had a computer in the control room, does that mean like you had a Voc lead, and like when was that first Voc lead?
To be honest, I can't remember when the concept of Voc lead happened. But I would honestly, my first Voc lead was year 1, is what I would say. Somebody who had that role. And his name was Ryan Laughlin. And Ryan was one of those kids who the librarian had been teaching out of the library, out of the closet in the library. And we actually brought that computer system into my room. And that was in the control room only for the first year, maybe. And so he kind of, again, I knew nothing. So he kind of helped me through the process of getting that going. So I guess he would be what I would say is the first real Voc lead. But then the concept of Voc lead came to me, and I can't remember, the term might have been used in our FFA program, but not the same way that I wanted to use it.
Yeah.
What was happening with me is I was getting kids who wanted to be TAs, but a TA was, I need to deliver notes someplace. I need to make a poster for a bulletin board. You didn't need any specialty skills for that. What I needed kids to use their skills to create projects. I needed kids to do work and to continue their learning.
Yeah.
But for a TA, you would only get half credit. And I'm like, I can't ask these kids to work as hard as I need them to do and to work on these projects and only give them half credit. So that was when I went to our administration and went, hey, I have this idea for having these Voc leads where kids are continuing their learning, but they're working on real world projects. They're working on projects for admin, for counselors, for teachers, for sports teams, for all these other things. And that's kind of where the idea of Voc lead came from. And I've really kind of tried to protect that. Oh, we got our bells going on. It is now 2:45 p.m.
Actually, 2:40.
I recorded this for Miss Belleville.
Really?
Yeah.
But next year it'll be like, who is that lady? Belva's out here too.
I know. I'm just waiting for it to finish because I'm sure it's in the background here. I don't think they lock any of those bathrooms anymore. I think they're all just open.
They're all open.
Except for the closed ones. All right. What was the question? We were on Voc leads.
Yeah.
So I do kind of protect the concept of Voc lead because for me, it is really about kids continuing to work, continuing to learn, and produce. It's not about, I need you to run and, deliver notes. I need you to, whatever. That is truly a TA. And so I really try and protect that concept of Voc lead, and they really earn the credit that they get, not just a half credit that a TA would get.
And has there been years where they took away Voc lead, or has it always been Voc lead? Or has there been years where they've been never mind, it's teacher assistant again?
No, I've never had. So for us, one of the big things is that we're a CTE class. So for every one of our CTE classes, we have what's called a framework. And a framework outlines all the industry standards, all the English skills, all the math skills, everything that you're going to integrate into your curriculum. Well, Voc leads are really independent in what they do. It's not like everybody's going to be looking, it's like when we're working in our announcement groups and we're meeting for our post-production meetings and those things. We have things that we work you towards reflecting on and thinking about and building on. All of those are parts of our framework. Well, Voc lead, every project's different. You never know. So almost impossible to come up with a framework for Voclead. Yeah. So right off the bat, I said, you know what? Let's not make Voclead CTE. So the good news about that is we don't have to have a framework. It's just an elective. The bad news is we don't get CTE dollars for those kids in the class, right? Yeah. So for my whatever we have, 15 Vocleads or whatever, we don't get extra funding for those 15 kids, which is why they don't count in our class limit. So when we have 26 intro kids and I have 3 Vocleads, that's 29 total kids I'm responsible for. We only get funding for the additional funding for the 26 that are in video 1. I see. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just different ways to think of it, different models. But as I share the Voclead model with other teachers and other school districts and things, they're like, oh my God, why didn't we think of this? Why haven't we been doing this all along? Why haven't, X, Y, and Z? So for me, it was just a no-brainer. I couldn't do the work. It was getting to the point where admin wanted me to create this video, counseling wanted me to create, and I couldn't do all that work. And kids didn't have time to do it in the advanced class. Yeah. So for me, it was just a no-brainer of, well, we've got kids who want to keep working and learning and building their skills. Why aren't we utilizing them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So anyhow, that's Vocleads.
Nice.
Yeah, so moving on to like video announcements. So I've heard a lot that like there's been a lot of change with it. Like there's a point where we did like daily. There's been a point where we've done like monthly, mm-hmm. but I'm not like the timeline hasn't been like quite defined yet. I'm just like curious, like if you had like an idea of kind of like how like video announcements have like evolved since that like beginning.
You're asking me to really remember back a long ways. And this is where I might be making some stuff up.
Just try your hardest.
My recollection, I'm trying to remember if I ever did daily.
I think I heard that you did from like Jaden Turner, like back when this school was like just built.
No. If I did daily, it would have been back at the very beginning. But I don't think we ever did daily because I wasn't willing to be under that kind of gun. And I didn't have, like now I've got 56 students who can actually produce, or 52, whatever the number is. Back then I had like 5. I mean, I had lots of kids, but not lots of kids who were talented and who had abilities and who loved it the way that my kids today do. So now I could go to any of my 52 advanced kids and go, hey, let's do this. And boom, they could do it. That wasn't the case back then. So I don't remember about daily. I know we did weekly for a while early on. And then I kind of got tired of the deadlines because again, it used to be much more complicated. We actually had to burn our announcements onto DVDs and play them off of DVDs to the whole school. So we would literally push play on the DVD player and it would broadcast out to the whole school. It's
got to be intense.
It was a pain in the booty. And I just went through a time that I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this pressure. Because it's pressure. And this is what people don't understand. And, a standard classroom, you can go in, you close the door, the grades go in the grade book. Nobody sees how many kids are doing well. I mean, the district does because the district evaluates all that and yada, yada, yada. But people around you they don't see your successes. They don't see your failures, any of those things. In this, whenever we produce a show, everybody sees the successes and everybody sees the failures.
Like the whole school.
The whole school. It's kind of like ASB when they put on an assembly. Everybody sees successes. Everybody sees the failures. Yearbook. Those things where there's products that go out. That's a lot of pressure, and we have that pressure weekly, right? Yeah. So, I felt so compelled to have to turn out a quality product back in the day that I felt it was a reflection on me. I would literally stay up till 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning before something would air, and I would adjust all the audio. I would I would go through and correct everything that I could correct, but it was killing me. It was killing me. And so at one point I went, you know what? I'm done with this. Let's go to a 20-minute show or a 25-minute show once a month. So we did that for a little while. And that's a whole nother beast, creating a 25-minute show and keeping somebody engaged for that long. But I really then we settled back into the weekly and we started to get into a groove. Again, remember those first years, I had no experience. I had nothing. I didn't know anything. So once I started to figure it out, get in a rhythm, get in a groove, put together a system, then we could kind of start creating that. And we were a 5-minute show for a long time, and it was really just about talking. This is what's going on. It wasn't. Now we're kind of infotainment. It was just straight. Provide the information, get in, get out, and you're done.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then obviously, ever since we've been in this high school, we've been on a weekly show, an 8-minute weekly show, which I think is a perfect amount of time. And we've gone to a little bit more, especially in the last 5-6 years, more infotainment than trying to just deliver straight, news style.
Yeah.
Keep them engaged.
Mm-hmm. So how has the process of, I guess, watching and evaluating the announcements in class, how has that changed to how it has become now?
Well, especially since we've come to this building, early on, we didn't do a lot of evaluation stuff. Early on, it was just about, oh my God, thank gosh, that one's done, but now we got another one coming, Because again, I didn't have 52 people who were committed to making announcements. So I really relied heavily on, a few people. Yeah, the others contributed, but a few people who were doing everything all the time. So there was no, let's stop and spend an hour looking at this and talking about this. It was all right, let's go. We got the next one. Here we go. So, especially here now, I mean, we went to where we would, watch them in both of my advanced classes, and we would critique and we would do those things. And that was awesome because we would talk about the things that worked really well and talk about the things that didn't work really well. What do we need to improve on? And we did that for a lot of years. But I think what's really been a game changer for us has when Mark Jones joined us 4 years ago, and he started talking about having these actual team conversations, these team debriefs, and slowing down that process a little bit and taking time for that. Which I still never felt that I had the time because, again, you're still managing the class. You're still trying to keep all of that going. So that was something that he picked up, and I think he's really perfected how that runs over the last 3 years, and I think it's turned out to be one of the best things that's happened to our advanced program, that's happened to our systems. I think it really helps kids reflect on what they've done and learn from each other. And it's really helped build the bonds and the relationships within the teams that they work in all year long. So I think that's one of the biggest changes, that's been so beneficial over the last few years.
Yeah. And kind of on that note, so how have, let's go back to the quarterly video analysis. How did that work with announcement groups? Was there, because I know that for a while there was only one advanced video class, right?
There were no announcement groups. There were, hey, we've got to make this 20-minute show. I need you to work with him on doing this teacher highlight. I need you to do this do a basketball piece. I need you to do this, do a drama piece. And we would just bring it all together. So there wasn't teams. Right now we have 52 people. So I can take a class, and we're only making 8 minutes, not 20 something. Yeah. So I can take a class period, divide it up into 3 teams, and then spread those announcements out. And now I can have teams that do that. But yeah, like I said, in those years there wasn't a lot of reflection that went on. It was, okay, let's do better. Here we go.
Yeah. So how long did it take for like that kind of idea of like putting it into groups? Like when did that revelation occur?
Well, it really didn't come until we came to I'm trying to remember if we had, did I have 2 advanced classes before we came to this building?
I don't think so, because I think you said
don't
that
think so.
it only really worked with 8 periods because the admin wanted you to pick up 2 more year 1 classes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. So when we came up here, so I was when we were on the 6th period day, I was teaching 5 of 6. So we had 4 intros and 1 advanced.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we came up here, then I was able to add an intro. So I was teaching 6 of 8, which is what most teachers teach, and then we added another advanced. So I was teaching 7 of 8.
Mm.
So that's kind of how we got to that. I don't know. I don't remember what we were talking about.
Just like how like announcing groups how those like
announcement
formed.
groups, yeah, how they came about. So anyhow, then all of a sudden when I had 2 class periods, then it was like, okay, 1 class period isn't responsible every week. 1 class period is going to be responsible 1 week, then the next class period is going to be responsible the next week.
Yeah.
And then, we're doing 8-minute announcements, so I don't even need a whole class period to be responsible for a set of announcements, because we're still film-based too, and I wanted room for creative stuff. I wanted room for, people to work on other things than announcements. So that's what I came up with the concept of, okay, I think a team of 8 or 9 people is a good set of team to produce an 8-minute piece. And, then if I do that, okay, now I can have 6 teams. We can alternate weeks, and a team every 6 weeks is going to make a set of announcements. If they're working on announcements for 4 weeks, then that's going to give them 2 weeks to work on other creative stuff in the meantime. And that kind of started down that track.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember last year you were talking about maybe adding a 3rd advanced class. Is that something that you kind of just like?
Well, I had a lot of younger classmen. So if I don't have a lot of seniors in my advanced class, which is video 2, 3, and 4, if there's not a lot of seniors in there, then there's a lot of kids who want to roll over into another year, right? So I don't have spots for video 1s coming into video 2. So there was the possibility that I would just have too many kids who were staying and not rolling out. So, but instead of doing that, we created another freshman sophomore video 1, and reduced one of the junior seniors. The junior senior video 1 became really hard because our system kind of moved into this world of, oh yeah, if you want a free period, no problem, you can have a free period. So what would happen is I would get, for my junior senior class, there'd be times where I'd get 75 kids or 100 kids to sign up for 50, 60 spots. Well, then you give the spots to those 50, 60 kids, and then all of a sudden, 10 of them are doing running starts, so they're gone, and another 10 decided they wanted a free period, so they're gone, and now you're sitting in classes with 16, 17 kids, and they were originally full. So I got a little frustrated with that, and the system itself wasn't changing, so I said, well, I will change the system, and we will do another freshman, sophomore, and drop one of our junior seniors. But now just enrollment for junior seniors had reduced as well, because kids were just taking free periods and doing those kinds of things.
Yeah. So kind of moving to a different topic, what was like the shift like coming from having Mapleview as the original high school to then like coming here? How did the program like shift?
Well, I mean, we were actually coming to a studio.
Yeah.
That changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Mapleview, they built it as a media room, but it was not a media room. There was here we built this as a working studio, which was awesome. And it allowed us, I mean, it just opened up the world to things that we could do and to experiences that we could provide to kids. You know, and I'll say at this point too, our admin in our district deserves a lot of credit for where we're at. At the district level, when it comes to CTE funding is designed because we know CTE classes cost more money, right? A math class is a textbook. A CTE class, you know, whether you're talking robotics, auto shop, whatever, it's expensive equipment that wears out, rotates. You know, the programs are expensive. And our district years and years ago made a commitment to, we think CTE extended funding belongs in the classroom with the kids. So a lot of people, you know, talk about, oh, this cool camera equipment, all of, you know, these things. But that allowed us to start because the district went, we want the funding to be with the kids. We're not going to charge you as much for the lighting. We're not going to rent the classroom to you. We're not going to, which there's lots of districts who do those kinds of things. And so they siphon all of that CTE, all of the extended money out to pay for basic education expenses. So our district never did that, which was awesome. And then, you know, our leadership from Mr. Duty, I mean, I could go to him with an idea that was going to be, you know, on the edge and could be, when I say risky, not risky dangerous wise, but just risky that we're going to give these kids opportunities that you know, some people could look at and go, really, you're doing that? And he would be willing to let us do it. He would be willing to let us provide opportunity for the kids that would get them great experiences and really build a lot of non-traditional skills in them. So that was always great. So our admin has always been very supportive of us, not just my CTE directors, but our principals and district office as well. So that's allowed us to get what we've got.
And that kind of reminded me of a question I forgot to ask earlier. Like, was the original VidPro room in the old high school, like, was that room ever shared? Like, was that also like a photography room, a yearbook room? Or was it like just specifically
No,
for
because
VidPro?
I've always taught full-time video production. I mean, yeah, the first year we didn't have crowding issues when they first went to that new building when they remodeled. We didn't have crowding issues, so that was just you know, I taught 2 periods in the video production room, and then I taught in the marketing rooms and the business rooms and those things. But then that next year, I've taught full-time video production. So pretty much during my planning period, whenever I have my planning period, it's spent, I mean, a lot of times I can't have people in my classroom because I'm working on the computers, I'm working on the equipment, I'm doing all of those kinds of things. And if I don't have access to my classroom, then I don't have time and access to do that. Something else, you did ask how quickly, earlier you asked how quickly the transition happened from business to marketing. I will say that I think after I made the transition for 3 years, I was very active in DECA when I was at Eatonville. I started their DECA program. And then when I came to Tahoma, I supported DECA, but I was really active in FBLA. And I became their FBLA advisor. And I was the FBLA advisor for probably 3 years, maybe 4 years after we made the switch to video production. And I mean, active at a high level. I sat on the Washington, I was a officer on the Washington board. I don't even remember what they were called, but so I had like quarterly meetings in Olympia, helped set up and run conferences. I had students who were active in the state leadership of FBLA. So I ended up taking kids to FBLA kids. I mean, I had all over the United States before I even started traveling for video production.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
And just kind of like circling back to like what Audrey was talking about with like switching into this new room. So you've told me like a couple of times that like you were like super involved with them like constructing this room. Like what was different with like when they first drafted the blueprints for this building? Like what was different? Like what Like, were there things that you had to be like, oh no, we need, like, that needs to be different. We need to add this. We need to do this.
Not really. We started with the world and then lost parts of the world as we came down, but nothing horribly. We were a little bit smaller than what I wanted to be. Not necessarily the studio, but the classroom.
Yeah.
I wanted the classroom to be a little bit larger. I wanted a little bit more space in the lab. But basically it came down to, this is how much space you have. Where do you want the space? Do you want it in the studio or do you want it in the lab? And I took it in the studio. And we have a smaller lab. And that's okay. It works. But it has allowed us to have great space in here to work as well. There's a couple things that I didn't expect. Well, all the windows. So I guess first off, placement. One of the things early on when I'd take kids to trips down in Hollywood and would go to specifically to LA Film School, one of the things that I really liked down there is they had some computer labs that were full glass across the front. So when we were on our tours, we could come and we could look in and we could see the teacher teaching, we could see the kids working, and I went, that's what I want. Because if you know where my room was in Mapleview, I was stuck in the back corner, and seniors would come into my room and go, oh, geez, I never even knew this was here. So I told Mr. Duty from the forefront, I want to be in the main hub, and I want all glass windows. I want people to see what we're doing. So I got that. That was awesome. But some of the other things that were a little bit of a shocker when we did actually get here was the studio. They painted the whole studio green.
Oh, man.
The whole studio. You can't see it now, but all the walls that are black here, they were all green. So it was like standing in a neon room. Everything was green. So when I walked in, it was kind of like, whoa. I don't know, on that wide camera over there, you can even kind of see the green baseboards across here. They even painted the baseboards green all the way around the room. Whoa, I almost rolled backwards there. That'd be bad.
Oh, no.
That would have been really fun.
That would have been bad. And we stayed green for a few years. I don't remember what year I painted the black, but we stayed green. But yeah, the other thing that they screwed up was one of the things that we were supposed to be able to do was we were supposed to be able to run multicam feeds from the pack and from the gym to our control room here. So we could do 3 cameras. The specs called for 3 camera multicam shoots. And then we were supposed to have a fiber drop down to the football field, which we had. We had that. But what they did was they put one line from the pack into the control room, and then they hooked a 3-button push button switcher in a back panel in the pack and in the gym control room down there. So basically, you could say, oh, we're going to send this outlet back to the studio, or we're going to send this outlet. So we had 3 outlets in there. But what the spec was really for is we're going to send 3 signals back to the studio and then be able to switch those live. So right off the bat, I went, whoa, this is not right, and this is not what was in the specs. You guys need to fix this. And it wasn't the district, it was the construction company, because they're the ones who screwed it up. And at the time, there was a technology coming out called NDI, which NDI allows video and audio to be sent over your standard network Ethernet cables. And so I was always wanting to be on the cutting edge side of technology. I wanted to do whatever was going to be coming next. So I convinced the construction company to, well, rather than running 2 more cables from each place, because that was going to be a pain in the butt for them, why don't you just buy me this NDI equipment? And it was less than what they would have cost them to run the cables. And that allowed us to then digitally start sending things back to the control room. But instead of just giving us access to the pack and to the gymnasium, it gave us access to any place where there's a network drop. So I could go into a teacher's classroom and plug in, and I would come back here. I could do any place. So that was probably the biggest thing. Then the only other disappointment in here was the height of the light grid. I really want, that light grid's right at 9 feet. It really would have been better to have it about 11 feet. And we could have done it. I guess part of it was I was just green and didn't have the understanding. But the tech who designed the room should have known better. Because right now it's causing us an issue that I'm kind of bummed about, but that's all right.
And so, like, did they give you like this like space and say like, what's your plan, or did they kind of be like, here's what we were thinking, what do you think about this?
No, I mean, I kind of wrote out, this is how we want to use the room. This is what we want. This is what, and then they kind of designed around it.
I think you also told me like a couple months ago that they originally didn't design in the storage room.
No, they did. Originally, the storage room included the yearbook room. So the storage room was originally, or I don't remember if it was the storage room or this room was bigger. One of it, but the yearbook room was originally part of. See, I almost fell back again. Yikes!
We're gonna lose Mr.
We're gonna
Haag.
lose Mr. Haag.
Wow. Okay,
All
I'm
right.
gonna sit up in my chair.
Okay, maybe we can readjust it too real quick.
Nah, that's all right.
Okay.
It would be funny if I fall over.
Yeah.
Ellen, I claim. Anyhow, so but so we ended up losing that space into the yearbook room. But no, I don't ever remember not having the storage room. One of the things that I asked for was for the badge protection on the so we could see who was coding in and out, because there's a lot of expensive equipment in there.
So wait, does that mean that like that yearbook room over there, like the studio used to go out that way, or like there was always that wall there?
Well, they changed it before they actually built the walls. They changed it in the plans towards the end, and created that room out of it. So they added the wall in or whatever.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there like anything that you didn't get out of this room that like you maybe wish we could have had today?
I mean, back in the day when it was built, not really. I mean, it was really, I mean, even it's, I would say, again, from what I've seen, it is the most up-to-date and well-equipped lab in Washington State, at least. There's some schools in California and Texas that, have pretty big programs and pretty, whatever, but they're also funded a lot differently than we are too.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, this has been, and again, the other thing that I always bring myself back to is this is a learning playground. This is not we're not creating Mandalorian. This is a learning playground. And so my goal is always to give kids exposure to things that they will see in industry, so that when they actually see it, they're not like, oh my gosh, and so overwhelmed, but they're like, oh yeah, I played with that when I was in high school, and I've had kids who have gotten job opportunities and gotten promotion opportunities because of those things. It's been, oh, this guy who's supposed to be doing this didn't show up to work today. Can anybody do this? And somebody's like, I've seen it, I've done it, I can figure it out. Yeah. Okay, good, you're up. Let's go. So that's kind of always been my goal.
Is, like, looking at the room today, is there anything that like you would want to add before you retire, or?
There might be a secret in the works.
Oh shoot.
Ooh, secrets.
Big things are happening. Not even like, what if picture like giant glass office above the control room, second floor, Mr. Haag office up there. That'd be pretty sick.
Mr. Haag is not coming back when he leaves.
Mr. Jones' giant office above the control room.
That is not going to happen, but it would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty sick. Like, imagine like working in here and then like Mr. Jones walks up to
him.
the window and he's like looking down.
But I will tell you, I do have a surprise before I leave.
A confirmed awesome surprise.
Secrets.
It's a pretty awesome surprise.
Ooh,
Big things are happening.
big things.
It's not going to make the seniors happy.
Oh shoot! So that means it's something really big. Kind kind of switching topics again. So like looking onto like legacy, something you've always talked about. Like, is there like any like standout like names that you could think of like throughout the years?
You know, when you first mentioned the thought of this question, this one's so hard because I forget a lot. And I'm going to feel bad because there's names that I'm going to not say that I should certainly say. And all the legacies have not been because they're great filmmakers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of the legacies are just because they're great people. They're great kids. They're hard workers. They're committed. They're, you know, so yeah, this one's tough, but I mean, there's some my advisory committee. There's some on my advisory committee who I've just followed their careers just because they kept in contact. For some reason I kept in contact with them. They're in industry, so yeah. There's some from all the way back into 05, 06, maybe 04. Alex Uding is a part owner in Paper Street Productions, or Paper Street Pictures, who's based out of Austin, Texas, although he now lives up here. He's post-production supervisor for them. He started that company with six people that he was working with, that they were working for a gaming company, and they all kind of looked at each other and went, wow, we all have film degrees. We're in gaming. And they started their own company, and now they've specialized in horror, but they're branching out. But they make movies for Universal. They make big time movies. I've got gentleman Brett Bachman. And part of it too is legacy families. I call legacy families that I've had multiple kids in. Alex, I had Alex Uding for 3 years, and then I turned around and I had his sister Amy for 3 years. She's not in the industry, but again, just another one of those great kids. The Bachmans, I had Brett Bachman. Again, he was around that same time frame as Alex, maybe 2005, 2006. I had him, and he's a Hollywood editor now. He had three in January, February. He had 3 films in theaters. So he's doing a lot. And then I had his 2 sisters. I had Elsa and Hannah. So I had a Bachman in class for like 10 years straight.
Oh man. Oh, dude, this is gonna be like me. All my cousins are taking VidPro.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna have him. That's gonna be Jonesy.
Oh no. Well, he's in for a treat.
Thank goodness. Because you were a handful.
I'm still here.
Yes, but I'm not.
Yeah, I guess fair enough.
But I mean, there's so many names over the years. Zach Johnson, who's a low. I should have got a drink. Dang, I thought it was on the counter there. Who's a live line producer or a live producer for Riot Games. I mean, he does amazing things. He edits live gaming situations all over the world. And when I say he edits them, he basically has 100 monitors in front of him. He has 6 editors in front of him, and he's calling and producing, 5 or 6 shows at a time. Crazy stuff. At one time, he was in the film industry down in Hollywood, and he was one of the most sought-after camera operators down there for a long time. And then I was talking to him, and he's like, Mr. Haag, I'm bored. He's like, it's funny, these guys who now are, 40 years old, they still call me Mr. Haag. But he's like, they take so long between shots. He's like, I could take a nap for 3 or 4 hours before they shoot the next shot. He's like, I can't take it. And that's why he went into that live production world. Wow. So, and there's, I've had a lot of great females too. Kaylee Jordan, who, again, didn't go into film, but she was crazy artistic. Allie Plyler, she was a musician, but also loved photography and loved film. And I had, who is now her husband, Mark Hooten, who did become a professional musician, and they travel all over down in LA and around the United States in that world. And I've had some great kids, Katie Roach and Vanessa. Oh, why can't I remember Vanessa's last name? But just fun, goofy kids who love to produce, who love to make, and have a good time. Geez, I'm just trying to think as we keep moving down. Brad Bicknell, who's you aspire to win
he's got
those
6
awards.
trophies. I got 5. I got to beat him.
What years were those?
06.
06. So he came right after Alex and Brett and that group. But yeah, that was another just great group of kids that followed up, and I guess part of what made our program successful and what got us to where we were was those kids. Again, I've said it all the time. The program isn't about me. It's about the kids who were in it, and they were dedicated. They were creative. They wanted to work. They wanted to learn. I would tease Brad that when he left, I wanted him to go and film. He was crazy good, crazy creative, and he had some people surrounding him. Cooper Sloan, Justin Hansen, Greg. I can't remember Greg's last name, but he had some crazy great people surrounding him too. But man, he would have been awesome in film, and he chased the money. He went to University of Washington and got a computer science degree, and got a minor in animation. But I tease him all the time because I think as a junior, he was making more money programming on the side than I was making as a 10th year teacher or whatever. And now he's doing well for himself.
Oh, that's good at least.
Mm-hmm.
But and I mean, there's a whole host of kids since then. The Robinsons, the Spencer Comble, Henry Comble, Bo Johnson, who's working down in the San Francisco area. Bo is not what you would consider a Trevor Valdez. Those are not what you would consider mainstream artists. These are guys that became kind of street artists. I mean, if you go and you look at them, they're tatted up. They've got all kinds of piercings. They're in the culture, and they're producing that culture. They which is cool because it's different than I went the Hollywood route and I'm in the corporate. I'm serving the man.
Mm-hmm.
They're serving the streets. And so it's fun to watch those paths as well. But geez, and then Jake Marston, who him and why did I lose the name? I can picture his face. Zach. I'll think of the last name later, but they were at Montana State together with Jaden Turner. I've got Jaden Polrex and Caroline Lathrop, who are at film school back east, and they just graduated, so they're just getting into the work. I mean, again, I'm missing so many kids, but every year I just have fun, great kids to work with. And it's been awesome. That's the ride. So,
Sure.
I don't know. Sorry, anybody I forgot. I know
Haag still loves you. She loves other people a little bit more. Ooh. Well, I think that's
I didn't
all
mention
our
your
questions.
name.
He
Yeah.
did not.
I'm not one of the greats yet. Just wait till I get that 7th Northwest Award.
Not
Brad.
legacy.
I'm on to you. I'm gonna beat him. No one can stop me. I'm gonna make history.
We'll
Look
see.
out, Brad.
We'll see. We gotta actually make good films to win awards. So.
You do.
That is how that works.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions we had for you.
No. Well, what if I had questions for you?
Oh, sure. Go ahead. I'm ready to answer.
We'll start with Audrey.
Oh,
Okay.
oh no.
Audrey, what is it that you want to make that you haven't made yet?
Like a film or anything? I don't know, I guess. I don't have like a specific idea or like an idea of a film that I guess I have in mind. But I guess I kind of want to just create that legacy for myself of maybe not like being the best like filmmaker in the class, but like maybe being someone who people can like remember and be like, oh wow, she was really like helpful, or she really like just made the whole experience better. So I guess nothing like, not a specific film or anything, but just kind of how I want people to see me in the class.
Yeah, I mean, you're sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
You still have 2 years.
Yeah.
I see you as someone who can be a great filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I see you kind of sitting back, getting the feel, getting the, but I also see you in the trenches and wanting to work, right? Yeah. And so there are some things that I'm going to miss. And those are some of the things is not getting to see that growth that I know you're going to have.
Yeah.
What about you, Elliot? What do you want to do?
I don't know. I think I want to be someone that can like be remembered in the program, and like, I want to step up and be like one of those names that like Mr. Jones can talk about when, there's going to be some kid in 20 years who's interviewing Mr. Jones, and he's like, oh man, I remember Elliot. Like he was my first fourth year, and he was in both the advanced classes, and he was doing all the stuff, something like that,
And what's going to be your strategy to do that?
I'm gonna apply myself everywhere I can. Like, I know you guys talk about like how there's a lot of responsibilities with being the future filmmaker president, but I want to try it, and I want to see what I can do with that. And I want to make as many films as I can, and I want to like and cover as many of the categories I can in Northwest, and I want to be like that bridge between the two class periods. And and I also want to be like a connection between video production and ASB, and making, we've got these giant windows from the lunchroom looking in here, but there's still people who walk by this room every day and are like, what is this? Like what?
Yeah.
Like what is this random computer lab? And then you tell them like, this is the film room, and they're like, what? So it's like, I want to be like someone that can be like, during Stuco slides, they can talk about the visual experience and like stuff that we're doing and just all that stuff. Like I want to be like a bridge, and I want to be like a leader in class.
Here's my challenge to you. Be that through actions and not through words, right? Again, you're incredibly talented, incredibly creative. We've seen that, right? We've seen that. And you're going to get only better next year. So that's not the question. If you want to be the legacy, if you want to leave that legacy, and the same challenge for you, Audrey, is you lead it through example and bringing people with you. And you don't bring people with you by saying, I need you to come help me. You bring people with you by making them want to be with you, right?
Yeah.
I don't stand out in the hallway and go, I want you to come into my room and be in video one. I want you to come in here. I try and get people motivated to create, want to work, want to be here, through the way that I interact with them, through the environment that we all create in the classroom, the teams that we work on, through all of that stuff. It's not me going out and going, come be with me, I'm flashy. Be those people. Be those people that you're a magnet because people want to be around you and they want to be part of the energy, not because you're flashy. Flashy falls apart in the long run. Flashy's not legacy. Legacy is people come to you, they're drawn to you, and you make a difference. When those sophomores are drawn to you as a senior, you're making a 7-year difference right there, because you're going to leave, but what you've given those sophomores is going to lead until their senior year. And then what you're giving them, they're going to pass on to those sophomores who are coming up. That's the legacy. That's what keeps it building. And that's why I always say, leave something better than it was when you got there. That's what you want to do.
Sure. Yeah. All right. I think
That's all I got.
that's all we got too.
That's
So I
all.
think that's it for the episode. I can't hit the soundboard button, but don't worry,
Here.
I'll add it in post. I turned his mic off, but we're gonna do finger guns at the camera still. We're gonna I'm envisioning the music, dun, 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 and then I'm gonna count down from 3, and we're all gonna finger guns at the center cam. All right. Yep, we are. All right.
Oh, we have to use 2 fingers?
Yeah, both.
Oh.
All right. Thank you for watching in the studio. Thank you, Mr. Haag, for being here with us. And we will hopefully see you. I mean, the school year's almost over. Hopefully see you next year. So Haag won't, but me and Audrey will.
See you on the flip flop.
All right. And 3, 2, 1.